Hello and welcome to the program Issues on ABS Radio and Television. I am Eze Omuchi. Today we shall look at we shall discuss the topic noise pollution and healthy living. Noise pollution and healthy living. Noise is the only form of pollution that is ever present but rarely noticed despite its adverse effects. It can lead to loss of memory, deafness, stress, and in some cases, psychiatric disorders. So, how can we control these unwanted sounds that disrupt normal sound in our environment? In this program issues, we shall find out what noise is all about. Noise pollution is all about, and the causes of noise pollution, types of noise pollution, of course, remedies, solutions to eradicate or curb or stop noise pollution in our society. And in the studio, we have Sachoka Nabife, media executive, Chinerugo. And again, welcome to the program. All right, we also have in the studio Dr. Atubiken Kalak, who is the head of department mass communication, Paul University. Okay, Doc, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we look at noise, noise pollution. Noise is noise, and when you add pollution, it becomes worse. You see, call that noise pollution, dog.
Yes, noise pollution. Immediately you talk about noise, you are talking of a sound. A sound, it could be from human beings, it could be from animals, it could be from technical equipment. And once any of such outputs from any of these kind of things, once it gets above the normal decibel that the ears can take without being troubled, then it becomes noise. Okay? But in the normal human interaction between person and person and between even human beings and animals, once the level of the communication becomes normal, it's not a noise. You find out that the interaction will become interactive. It will become mutually beneficial to the people engaged in it. But once it gets above the level that normal human ear can accept or assimilate, it becomes noise. And that is when it becomes trouble. And when you add pollution to it, what is pollution? Pollution is anything. It can be social, it can be natural, anything that defaces, anything that destroys, anything that makes the environment socially uninhabitable, it becomes a pollution. For instance, when a dustbin becomes stinking, it becomes a pollution. When the sound becomes a disturbance, it becomes pollution. These are social matters that disturbs and it destroys the human environment. Human environment is supposed to be good. It's supposed to be naturally ordinary. But when something suffices to disturb the equilibrium of the natural environment, it becomes a disturbance, it becomes a noise, it becomes a pollution.
And it discomforts.
It becomes a discomfort to the human being.
Thank you, Dr. Zubikenkela. This noise is ever present, but it's rarely noticed. Nobody cares. Why? Or not there and nobody says anything.
Yeah. You in your intro, you said when a sound becomes um, discomforting. I, from this question you just asked me, it is noticed. That's my own opinion. It is. It's not that it is rarely noticed. It is often noticed. That's why it becomes noise.
But nobody cares.
Dr. Onkala made a good, in his introduction, made a good explanation of noise level. Do you understand? Noise level. The aspect, everything, noise has even evolved to the point. You know, when there are some people who even is acceptable in communication in English, particularly in writing, when you say fashion noise. Fashion is physical, material, clothes. But you say somebody's dressing is fashion noise. That that something is that his colors are shouting. Do you hear such expression? And you understand it. And they say that he likes to shout with his appearance, even when he doesn't make noise. Even if it is his dressing or the way he makes his appearance. So noise is such a universal thing that it isn't so dynamic in an understanding. We notice it. The issue is that we don't seem to have enough. We don't seem to have enough in our society to guard against it, or to police it, or to deter people from doing it. In some societies, particularly I know of some societies in Europe, at least I've encountered it in Germany. It is there also in the United Kingdom and in the United States, particularly in the United Kingdom. Actually, in UK, most of the funds that go to fund the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, and even Canal France, there are monies, taxes made, like we call it radio tax, taxes on use of PAE, public address and enlightenment gadgets. Like these things that you see around here, people play music in their vehicles. Those those taxes are meant to deter people from abusing the environment. If you must, you pay for it. So it is a deterrent. The radio taxes are actually intended to help society make money from abuse of their space with noise.
Does it permit somebody to, when you pay the tax, you make a noise?
There's a noise level. There's a noise level. We call it decibel in measurement. But there is a noise level in every given society. You see, these things are because noise pollution is a universal problem, very universal problem. So some societies have get it. There's a level to even the one that you use your PAE over the street. You must receive. You must be ticketed. You must receive an authority from the permit from either the local government or the relevant agency of government, and then you go. There's a given level of noise you can do. I'll give you an example. I used to live in an estate in Lagos, and I have a colleague. He's an estate, an upper middle class estate, you might say, or just say a middle class estate, when there were classes in Nigeria anyway, not now. And a colleague of mine, then an editor in Punch newspaper, the mother came to live with him, and the mother was ill and came to her son's place to at least to have some peace on her lips. But interestingly, there was a new pastor, a new generation pastor that got into our estate and decided to get, and how he got a space within a shop within the playground, I don't know. Then this is a guy who every day he's doing vigil, every night he's doing vigil, every morning he's doing morning prayer. He calls it riot prayer, and you can understand what riot prayer means. Die, 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 fire, 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 fire. And then one day my friend called me and said, Chuka, my mother came here to have peace and she has high blood pressure, but she's not sleeping. And every day she's reading abuses on this pastor that is in her neighborhood. How do we rein him in? Well, he believed I had more contact with the executive of the estate. We tried, we couldn't. That woman knelt down and prayed for that man until he left. Until she left, there was no problem, nothing deterred the man. But one day, about 1 or so years after, about 1.5 years after, the man's church was demolished by authorities. I don't know why. It's not the woman that did it. But it was just like a coalition of forces and inexplicable circumstances. As I tell you, this is about 15 years now. The man has no place. At least I'm aware of that. That's how people can feel bad about you and they can go into dangerous prayers for you. But that is the man. The woman went into her spiritual level. But society can even avoid this. There are people who have high blood pressure. You said in some cases it can go to psychiatrists. Not in some cases, in most cases. Go and ask any psychotherapist. Ask anything. Most of the things a mad person says is like he begins to tell you that he is hearing some sound that you don't hear. He's hearing some sound inside him. Sound. Do you know that this thing you call noise? One of the biggest weapons in military warfare is sound. Most of the modern day warfare munitions, bombs, and all the rest is with sound. You know, sound can crack, can collapse this building. If you don't, let me give you an exercise anybody can do at home. Bring your radio. If you have ants, where ants are, let ants be going there. When they get to the point where you can identify where you have your speakers, high your radio or your music gadget to the very high there. You will see the sound of that speaker will fly off, bust off the ant. It will look like you didn't put any pressure, but it will bust off the ant. I didn't mean ants, insects that are flying, just ants, like these ones that eat sugar and others. When is there, just put it on a high, suddenly, at a high level.
It will be hitting the ground.
You see it. Yes, you see the ant, it flies off. That is, it busts, it pushes it off gravity. Sound is used to rankle gravity. Sound is used to rankle the mind of man. Sound is used to abuse a human being to the level of getting mentally berserk. Sound also aggravates your health situation. And when they put sound, channel sound to you, noise pollution, they pollute a noise around you. You won't have peace, you won't sleep, you won't rest, you won't read, you won't do some mental job, and you are dead.
Sound pollution or noise pollution. Dr. Kala, one of the means of controlling sound pollution, he just said it, the woman prayed, that was spiritual. So what else can we do to control the noise pollution? What you give comes back to you. So what can we do? The physical things that we can do to control noise pollution.
Yes. Regulation. Regulation is the key. You see, the relationship between the man in the society and his government is that the man in the society has submitted himself, his life, his conscience, his security to the government. And the government reciprocally owes the man protection, liberty, protection from all manner of attacks, protection from armed robbery, protection from thieves, protection from noise nuisance. Noise is a nuisance, is a social malaise. It kills. The typical African man is such a man that he doesn't care until he dies. And why do I say so? Somebody will be experiencing pollution, social problems, and he will be enduring it and pretends that he is living and he is going on his own business. But he doesn't know that day by day, bit by bit, he is dying. And one of the greatest things that kills people in the third world is noise nuisance. Apart from malaria, I think malaria should be the highest killer. Then the next is the issue of social noise pollution. So the government, because of the submission of the human beings within the society onto the government for protection, what should deter noise pollution is regulation. The level, like my friend Chuka pointed out, in the Western world, you don't pollute the environment socially by noise. If you do, you pay tax. And when you calculate the amount of tax you pay for making noise and remove it from your salary for the 2 weeks or for the month, you find out that you just have to be very, very cautious. In the streets of London, you hardly hear the horn, the vehicle horn. People don't horn very, 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 very often. If you do, the county police will be on you, because they are very careful about the humanity within their environment. But the African people are not very careful about the life of humanity within their environment. That's why today some of these small boys and destitutes you see in the streets, some of them got mental, not because of they are naturally have a heritage of mental derangement. Most of those things come from social problems like noise. Others come from the issue of those who command madness unto themselves by taking all these hard drugs. These are the things that should be regulated. I think apart from education, because my friend said that sometime we were discussing, he said that if you don't like education, then try ignorance. Ignorance is the worst thing that kills. And people experience noise and then they keep quiet. I thank God for the analogy that my friend Chuka gave. The woman sat in the comfort of her room and then invoked the spiritual apparatus that she had, and then God worked for her. God doesn't like injustice at all, and He rewards injustice with trouble to the unjust person. That's one. Spiritually, one can sit down and pray, and tomorrow you see a building where the noise comes from. It gets burned down by natural acid. Then the next thing will be the issue of enforcing our human rights. We have a right as people within the society. If your neighbor becomes a nuisance to you because of the disturbances he gives from his
gadgets
and public address system, you take a legal action. You can report to the police. But the kind of community life that we live, people say, Kedifin Akolia police, or so they can disturb. Either Arapia, the whole environment becomes madness. You see? So part of the way to curtail it is for us to take our human rights actions.
You want to add something?
Yes, I wanted to say something. Imana ane kuku dika radio task no noise pollution infringement and enforcement. What they call the strength. Imana alo ba aro. Ndị be anyị people, what we really need, we need the taxes. The taxes, because they bring money, look like the things to be talking about. They are actually penalties. You don't run an organization because you want to do good. You run an organization because you want to achieve the mission and vision and the purpose of the organization. Then if anybody falls out of line, you issue query. Okay?
Yes.
So, when you want to run these taxes, there's a lot to be gained from that, both be it local government that is the one or state or federal government. But there is a need for an enlightenment. There is a need for a sustained enlightenment. Even an advert one, na TV, na radio, na paper. I want to believe that all the eyes and all the ears are not there.
It's not enough.
It's a sustained, ongoing, unending process. Because society is dynamic. Then while you are doing it, you will deter many people from doing the wrong thing. The few who still become, I like him, my friend, Kalab, he paid it. He was happy, like the receipt. But he told us here, the penalty also, that is the main essence, it's not that tax. And taxes are actually meant to be, when you are doing, it's like a punishment a teacher gives a pupil. It is not meant to
make him a better human being.
The caning is not meant to break his hand, but it's meant for him to remember, still have his hand to work, but remember that he wouldn't want to go through that pain again. So the taxes are not supposed to make somebody poor.
So we can go back in 30 seconds. Tell people their rights. When they see something, they should say something going on in the environment as regards noise pollution.
No, you have already said it. The main issue about noise pollution is that man or the fleeting noise. Like you can breathe as yours. You must go another street and don't wake up there as if
their rights.
You make sure that you complain. You make sure you complain to the appropriate authority. It means that enlightenment is there to know the appropriate authority. Then there must be policing. People who should watch out if that happens again to catch them with evidence on the moment. And then people should also, communities should save themselves. That's why we're doing this belaboring of explaining the kind of things that can happen. You may not know a friend. I mean, when we use the word friend, you don't know anybody. His health will be fragile, or his psychological or mental status will be very, very frail. You may detonate that. So societies are to be the police. I told you a story about my community, the estate I was living in Lagos at the time. That community couldn't even stop the pastor. But eventually when the pastor's place was demolished, the society, that community didn't want it to start again. And that's how it became a deterrent. Almost only as every day. Fire or warfare every day. I can't say I
want to go 30 seconds, Dr. Kalayo, advice to
this society and it all the based on interaction, all the interactive. So only obona ga na-enyeli ibi aka in order to live well. And one thing again I suggest, Bona, one of the things na-eme fakafade cautious na bokali penalties. Mana, I'm married to emphasize one of the issue of penalty would the best yardstick. I would like to emphasize now, communities should be enlightened on the issue of noise pollution. Onwe tax ga-afịa the local government arụ ka ha collect fenye town unions, because town unions maara ndị befa ha maara onye nwere club na anyasị ọ nara ekwu onye ọbụla ezu ike ma church, because church ọ bụrụ sọsọ iji microphone wee na-afa ya in the air bụ evangelism bụkwa person to person. Onye talk to him si anya nabata Christ dịka onye nwere na onye nzọpụta, often the level of responsibility iji wee bịa and the level of recognition iji wee bịa ọ nabata.
Just one thing, sorry, the federal government to introduce noise taxes, that is for example, Muslims call to prayer and everything. Even Catholics do call to prayer. I hope you know that. They do Angelus 6 o'clock.
Divine
Message 3 o'clock. And 6 o'clock. Those are all called to prayers. Muslims, they may call to prayer 5 times or 7 times, depending on the season, every day. And the noise level are very high. Actually, the federal government at least the churches now
want to go.
Yes, now we, the followers, misunderstood because there was no orientation.
Thank you very much, Sancho Kanabife, Media Executive. Thank you for coming to the program. And of course, back to Azumi Kenkara, HOD Mass Communication, Paul University. Oka, thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you so
much. On behalf of everybody in the house, and of course, my producer, Don Onyenji, I am as Omoji. Thank you for staying tuned. See you again. Bye for now.